you know.
Yeah. There was a lot of, it was a great run from Bridgeport to New York.
Well, if you figure it out from New London, Hartford, Poughkeepsie, you got the most influential people in the world.
For sure.
CEO of the oil companies, General Electric. I asked a guy one time, how come that Fairfield and Greenwich was rated, you know, AAA, you know, for their bonds?
Right.
And he says, if you have 5 or 10 minutes, you know, you can come back and sit down. You know what he told me? He came down from Boston. He was a vice president of Mobil. And what he told me makes sense. If you have somebody like Jack Welch that lives in Fairfield and he sits in on one meeting,
Sure.
finance meeting, they can see 10 years ahead of time.
Sure.
You can't buy their service for $1,000 an hour.
No.
And the same applies to the club. You take a guy like Jim O'Donnell or even Pat Daly, you know, the experience of building, or a guy like you have the experience. Or Pat Dyer, or,
Sure.
you know, just
you got a lot of experience.
Maura O'Donnell.
Sure.
And you take somebody like Paddy K. Lenan. You know, she started off, you know, the dance studio. But what she has given to the club, you know, heritage.
Oh, yeah.
All them kids and their fathers and mothers,
Yeah.
they got involved in the club.
Sure.
That's one of the reasons the club is so successful.
Sure.
I'm not trying to give her a boast, but,
But that's
I just know her to see her, to talk
sure,
to her.
Sure.
But if you have somebody like that that people likes, and the kids danced with her, and they met, they come in and they put. In fact, one of the first signers for the club was Sarsfield Ford.
Yes, yeah. Still a great member here.
Huh?
Still a great member here. He comes in and he supports all the time.
Oh yeah, but he sits back and he listens.
Oh yeah.
He don't poke his nose in.
No.
See? He's very, very intelligent man.
Oh yeah.
But you, if you want his advice, you know, about you couldn't buy his service for, you know, $300 an hour.
Sure.
That's what makes a club.
There must have been a lot of good stories on that railroad, like things that happened over the years too.
Oh yeah, well, stories you don't want to repeat.
Well, maybe not some of the people. There must be some funny ones too.
Well, anyway, the year before Clinton got elected, the crew dispatcher came down on the train and he says, Mr. Clinton is going to be on your train tomorrow.
Really?
I said, fine. I thought you'd get on at Stanford. So we used to arrive at 7:57. We're 3 minutes late, and our train left at 8:10. And we come in on track 42, and we didn't have time to walk up the ramp. We went crossing the track. So Jim Callan was the engineer. I was the conductor. So he had an old Irishman's cap on him and a Stop and Shop bag and his shirt sticking out in the back. And a guy comes out of the train, track 42. He says, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm the engineer." I said, "Okay." So I come along and I walked in, and Hillary's sitting here and girl beside her, and there's a young guy over here. Put my bags down. So I says to supervisor, how about the tickets? They're all set. They got off-peak tickets. So the rear car was closed with 6 cars. So she wanted the car open to the public before we left. So I come along and I says, "Tickets, please, give me your ticket." "Thank you." And then the supervisor came on. He said, "We'd like to have a picture of you and Mrs. Clinton and Nelson, the CEO, with the logo Metro North." So came out, took the pictures. I have 2 pictures.
Yeah.
I'm punching her ticket.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You know, you could have a picture with the next president of the United States.
It might be.
Where were you when Kennedy died? Talking about presidents.
I was painting a room My wife was pregnant with, must be Timmy.
Okay.
I remember well.
Yeah.
And I think it was Pete Ballew's wife that called up Anne and says Kennedy was assassinated.
Yeah.
We weren't watching television, we're painting a room.
Yeah.
That's where I was.
Well, is there anything that we've left out that you'd like to talk about, either in Ireland, England, or here in America?
Well, as I said before, this is one of the finest countries in the world.
Yeah. Have you made many trips back? Was there...
We're back 4 years ago. We hired out 2 cottages in on the borders of Clare and Galway.
Mm-hmm.
They're like little Irish cottages. We weren't in one of them. We were in a slated one.
Yeah.
There was 17 of us.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Now, who's living? Just give us a little bit of background. Who's living back in the home place, or is there anybody?
Nobody.
Nobody.
That place was sold.
Okay.
It's all leveled off.
Uh-huh.
It's farmland now.
Okay. So did you take a drive up to Strokestown and
Oh yeah.
take a look around the old?
Well, the famine, memorial is there.
Yes. Yes.
The wild geese from Greenwich put a lot of money in there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Nice.
Mahan estate.
Mm-hmm. But is there family still living around there? Any?
I have cousins in Dublin.
Okay, but nobody in the Roscommon area, pretty much.
I have cousins.
Oh, you have cousins.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's about it.
From Strokestown to Birmingham, to London to Birmingham,
Yeah,
and to Bridgeport,
to Bridgeport and Fairfield.
and 48 years with the railroad. It's quite a life.
Yeah.
And
Well,
their family.
I'm an old man now.
And you're still doing the job.
Oh, well.
It's been a pleasure interviewing you.
Well, thank you very much, Noel.
I enjoyed it. Okay.
Thanks.